Welcome to a special mini episode of Smart Voices where we're highlighting the teams behind the scenes who are helping drive SmartBank toward our bold 50 million revenue goal. Chelsea and Charity have joined me again, and we're welcoming Cory Baxter, Assistant Client Services Manager. Cory, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank y'all for having me.
Thanks, Cory. We are so excited to have you on. Before we dive into what you're working on and your team is working on to help us reach the $50 million revenue goal, I did want to go ahead and dive in a little bit and just give a quick overview of what the goal is and why it matters. At SmartBank, we are aiming to reach $50 million in revenue this year. It's an exciting target that represents just more than our numbers. It reflects our collective efforts to grow smart, stay aligned, and deliver strong performances across the board. In Q1, we did set an initial goal of 46 million, and you might have seen it. We actually exceeded that target. That momentum has carried us into Q2, where we are having a new target of $48 million in revenue, with the continued focus, of course, on managing our expenses wisely. What's exciting is that this goal isn't just about sales. It's about what every team member has to contribute to help us achieve that. From increasing efficiency to supporting frontline teams, everyone plays a role in getting us there. And that's why we're spotlighting different departments like client services to learn what they're doing, share ideas, and inspire more collaboration across the bank. So Cory, we're going to just jump right in. What is your team working on to support the 50 million revenue goal?
Well, thank y'all. Yeah, for the 2025, we really wanted to have some more meaningful interactions with our clients, not just getting on the phone and giving balances and this. We wanted to actually have these conversations and kind of be that one-stop shop for them, and not having to send them to the branch for that added traffic that, for the things that we could help easily alleviate from them. So this year, with the help of Charity, our team is now trained to open accounts over the phone for existing clients. We hope this can help client retention by making them more sticky to SmartBank. And as I said earlier, try and alleviate some of that traffic to our branches and help them better serve potential new clients and with loans and deposit accounts. So far this year, we've helped retain 176,000 in accounts with a goal of 500,000 plus for the year. We continue to build out our DocuSign templates to break from the old ways in the past of having to direct clients to come into the branches and sign documents, that us in client services, we could easily help them with over the phone. Those things are stop payments, disputes, POS increases, so much more on there. But we hope that alleviates some of that traffic to the branches and hopefully lets them have more meaningful conversation with them, better to support them this year. We also took on additional mortgage service requests. We hope this helps the mortgage team to have faster loan turnaround times and to better help them serve their clients and lenders and allow us to gain our knowledge of mortgage and better help clients in that sense.
Cory, I keep hearing this sticky. We want to make our clients sticky. I think that's one of the biggest things as we're moving into 2025 and beyond that we're really focused on is how can we not only get new clientele in, but also keep them with us and expose them to different areas of the bank and have them with different lines of business because then they kind of stay with us, right? Right. But I appreciate client services, their willingness to jump in, and they're being viewed now, I think, as a sales contributor, which I don't think you guys used to be. How has your team taken that step forward? Like, how are they feeling about these new jobs, these new capabilities you guys are adding to them? How are they feeling about being a part of that?
Yeah, they absolutely love it. I talked earlier about where we have 176,000 in retention money right now. They actually have a big board up here in our department, and they keep track with every account they open. They're going in, shading in this color all the way to our 500,000 plus goal. Really, in client services, a lot of people don't know, but we touch so many departments. We really have to have an overall understanding of banking entirely. We don't specialize in major in anything. We minor in everything, it seems like. So it's really helped them. And whenever they come into the department, I always tell them, if you don't know something about banking here in the next month, you're going to be an expert on it because you're going to see it 1,000 times. And they love being this overall banking. It helps it not be so boring, I guess, during the days. If you were having to do the same thing over and over again, they're constantly doing something different. And I truly believe they love what they do, and it shows through their conversations they're having.
I mean, absolutely. I would say that you guys are probably ahead of target at 176, right? Like,
Right.
and the goal is 500. And I love that engagement. You guys, I mean, if you all haven't ever spoken to the folks in client services, one, they're all absolutely amazing. They're all the most friendly people you'll ever meet. And they care for each other, I think, and that just shows in everything they do. Every time you speak to them, they just are brimming with energy and enthusiasm and positivity. And I love the engagement that you and Sarah are very intentional about in trying to encourage them and continue to push them to seek those out and do more and keep that engagement top of mind. I love the board idea. That's a cool ad. And if there's anyone listening that is looking for ways in which to encourage your team members, things like that, making it real and visible for them, that's something they see every day. They walk in and it's something that they can go and actively add to that. I think that does wonders with engagement. So kudos to you guys.
Yeah, that is so fantastic, that the tangibility of that board and the fact that they are getting to visually see that impact, not just hear it from their clients. Yeah, there's so many times your team is nominated for WOW Awards, and everything to what Chelsea said, not shocking to me at all. Anytime in Sevierville downtown, they are so quick to, hey, how are you? I mean, just chatting in the hallways, saying hi. You definitely, you guys are a family, and it shows. I love that you said you guys minor in everything. You do have to be a bit of a jack of all trades across the industry. So
Right.
How did you land on these particular focuses to contribute to this $50 million goal? How'd you land on these particular topics?
Right. Well, we really had a collaboration. It was really spearheaded with Martin last year in the retail leadership, Sarah, myself, and we involved our team, and we started having more frequent and meaningful conversations, in the last part of 2024 to kind of get us aligned and see, in 2025, where can we have the biggest impact? Since we touch, like we said, all these different departments, where can we provide the most support for them? As client services, we're not out there, kind of beating the pavement for loans and all this revenue there, but how can we support the ones who are? How can we make your life easier? And I think we're really hitting on those now. Like I said, we spoke with mortgage department, great relationship with them. Zora, Beth, they've been awesome in training our team. Like I said, Charity, you train our team to get these account openings. That's something they never did before. And, now hopefully taking this pressure off the branch staff, and I hope they're feeling it by now. If not, we're going to continue to do that, and hopefully they'll get to feel that more. But, just really giving that support where it's needed the most.
Yeah, you guys definitely are the embodiment of embracing change. That thought process of thinking, where can I have the most impact? What's going to be the most supportive and the most helpful? That's such a great thought process and way to strategize to make that ripple effect go out as far and deep as possible. Oh man, I love that. Mm-hmm. So thinking about how you guys have really set the bar high and have all these great ideas. And I know it comes from that communication that you mentioned and alignment that you have, not just with your leadership, but with your team as well. That's right. So fantastic. So what advice would you give to other operational teams where they're beginning to determine how they're going to impact this $50 million goal our organization has?
Right. I believe, communication and collaboration with your team and different departments, that's really essential to, all of SmartBank and helping us achieve those goals. It's something I think that it's been grown at L&D and, Chelsea and Cory and, Charity. It's something that you all have brought us all together. And I think we're collaborating, doing this more than ever now. And, I think it's really starting to show, and it's going to show at the end of the year when we hit this goal and, how much we're all working together and rowing all the same way. And just also being transparent and upfront about where we might be falling short of reaching our goals and, reaching out for help when it's needed. And, I just wanted to remind everybody out there, our team in client services, we're always willing to help where we can. And if there's any way that we can assist you, we want to encourage each and every one of you all in your departments to reach out, and anything we can do to be of assistance to you, we'd be happy to help.
I'm such a visual person, but just listening to you talk, Cory B, or as Sarah and I say, my Cory versus her Cory. When you're talking about all growing in that same direction, across the organization, like you think about a field of wildflowers, and we all might be a different, species of flower, but the intention is that we're all growing in that same direction. And that soil, right? The soil, the foundation, giving wow experiences, those core values, even though we're different species and we may, look a little different, but we're all growing in that same direction. I love that. That was just such a great, as you were telling me that, just that great kind of story came to life in my brain.
Cory, the thing about your all's goals that you guys have put together is there things that you weren't doing prior to, as you had mentioned and kind of alluded to earlier. And I think as some of these operational teams and leaders think about how they can impact that 50 million in revenue, they, a lot of us, I think on the operations side think, well, we're not producers, so we can just focus on the cost containment side, and that's kind of it. But the reality is like the mortgage example that you have on how you guys are helping on the mortgage side and helping service some of the administrative mortgage pieces that our mortgage loan officers had to do and be involved in and kind of help the client with. That's giving and freeing their time up to help generate more business. So, and that's something that your team wasn't responsible for. You guys weren't doing. So that kind of that mindset or your kind of boundaries being or barriers kind of being lowered and thinking outside of just what client services does today and other areas of the bank and how you can support and collaborate with other areas. I mean, that is such a profound and unique way to look at it and how to make an even larger impact, right? Because I'm sure there were parts of your all's conversations where you said, okay, what are our current processes? What are some things that we can do today to help that client services is doing? But you also had this other conversation, right, of what are things we're not doing that other teams are that we can take the burden off of them or help create an efficiency and give them an opportunity to generate more business. Who spearheaded that or started that conversation? Was that a Martin or you or Sarah or together to kind of start to think outside of the box?
Yeah. I think foremost it comes from Martin, that spirit of, how can we say yes, and that's where as client services, as it comes down to us and me and Sarah have our talks and then we meet with our team, how can we ask our team, where are you hitting the most roadblocks? What seems to be your biggest challenge? And then we list them out there and say, okay, how can we improve on this? And mortgage is one of them, and they want to learn more about loans. They want to be proactive in this. And we want to be able to support these different groups. And I think it's being purposeful in our conversations where, I can say with Sarah, since she's been here, she's made it a really big deal we want to speak to every one of these departments. We want to see how can we be of assistance to you. And that's kind of where it, spearheaded came out from, was, just being open and having these conversations with different departments that you don't talk to all the time and seeing how, putting yourself out there, how can we help you? How can, this is what we need from you all, but how can we help, in your efforts for that? So it's been really great and everybody's been receptive and, there's not a bad department in the whole bank. So it's so easy to work with everyone.
Yeah, that intentional communication and collaboration, before someone has to come to you, you guys are reaching out to them. And that is, and not that you don't need something as well, but that intentional communication and collaboration is just so incredible and so amazing, and really helps us get out of working in silos, because again, we are all touching so many components, not just our clients, but all of these processes. That's really fantastic.
Love it. Really good. There's that, it reminds me of that ancient proverb, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And just that cohesion. And Cory, hats off to you and Sarah and Martin, and just your all's leadership to collaborate with other groups, bring them in, and make the impact so that we can reach that 50 million in revenue goal. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks, everyone, for listening into this special mini episode. We're excited to keep the conversation going as we spotlight more stories from our amazing associates through the series. Leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about today's episode. And be sure to tune in next week for part 2 as we continue highlighting the teams going all in for 50 million. And until then, keep creating wow experiences.